And viewers, let's start the bulletin with some news now coming in from Bangladesh, where the interim government led by Mohammed Yunus has arrested 7 people in connection with the killing of a Hindu man, Dipu Chandra. This was following allegations of blasphemy. The arrests were carried out by the Rapid Action Battalion 2 days after the incident in Valuka in Mymensingh. According to officials, Das was a 27-year-old garment factory worker, and he was attacked by a mob after he was accused of making derogatory remarks about Prophet Muhammad. He later died from the assault. The government condemned the killing, stressing that mob violence has no place in what it called a new Bangladesh, and pledged strict legal action against those responsible. The lynching occurred amid heightened political tension and protests across Bangladesh following the death of radical political activist Sharif Osman Hadi, who had been shot during an election campaign event and later died in Singapore. Bangladeshi authorities said investigations are ongoing and assured that justice will be pursued under the law. And I'm now joined in by Ambassador Veena Sikri, who is the former High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh, and she joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us once again here at NewsX World. Now, yesterday we were talking about the lynching of the Hindu man in Bangladesh, and today there has been some action from Bangladesh, and Yunus has made a statement to say that 7 people have now been arrested for blasphemy. Yesterday we were also speaking and saying how there is now mobocracy in Bangladesh. It's going rogue. It's a complete state of anarchy. Your comments on this arrest of 7 people there in connection to the Hindu man?
Well, I think that, yesterday all the channels, even in India, were just going on and on about Osman Hadi and about what had happened to him.
Yeah.
And on so many channels, I said that, look, what about Dipu Chandra Das?
Yes.
The way in which he was killed, the way he was accused of blasphemy and then beaten to death and his body put on a stake, burnt and then taken off and thrown on the highway. It was barbaric. It is a medieval act, not something belonging to the 21st century. I think all the channels then rallied around and there's been a lot of publicity about him. And in response to that, as you said, Mohammed Yunus said, oh, there's no place, etc. But I must tell you, that while, yes, on the face of it, 7 people have been arrested, there are innumerable videos about this event, about the putting of the body at the stake. There are innumerable videos, possibly 50, 60 people there. And the police arresting 7, who are going to very likely be released on bail very, very soon, is just a showpiece action. It's just a showpiece. Because all these 18 months since Mohammed Yunus has come to power, from the 5th of August onwards, there have been attacks on the minorities, the Hindus, the Christians, the Buddhists, the Sufis, the Ahmadiyyas, absolutely violent attacks, rapes, lynchings, killings, destruction of property, taking over of businesses, all that, forcing Hindu professors to resign, Hindu primary teachers to resign by the mobocracy. They surround them and force them to resign. And all the while that this has been happening, Mohammed Yunus has been in complete denial. He had just given one-line replies to everybody saying fake news from India. Absolutely, he has not accepted any of these things. And even the BBC has documented sometimes some of these atrocities, but they also, after a while, have just kept quiet about this. This kind of, absolute venomous and medieval, I would say this is like going back to the 14th and 15th century, these kind of attacks that have taken place on the Hindus and the other minorities in Bangladesh. But the people and the media coverage has been zero. Zero media coverage in Bangladesh on this, no interest at all. And since Mohammed Yunus dismisses it as fake news from India, the Indian media has kept quiet about it, and the world also said, okay, fake news from India. So I think after this 18 months of total denial, because of yesterday's huge publicity on Dipu Chandra Das's brutal killing, you today have an arrest of 7 people, but they will never be punished. They will be released on bail, as has happened before. I remember one other incident which also came in the media, and then, 2 people have been arrested. No report at all. Even the Human Rights Commissioner report, Volker Turk report, did not document in full the atrocities on the Hindus. Did not say anything about that. So I think that this kind of a global silence on the absolutely, communal atrocities being committed by the Bangladesh regime. It's an interim regime. It's not a government. It's not constitutional. It's not legal. But they are allowing this perpetration to frighten the minorities into leaving. But the Hindu youth and other Buddhist Christian youth, they have said, no, we're not leaving. We are staying here. This is our country. We are citizens of this country. We want our rights. And we had Chinmoy Das, who had made a list of 8 points asking but he's been thrown in jail. And he's been in jail for a year without trial, without framing of charges, without anything. Why aren't they giving justice to Chinmoy Das?
Yeah. In fact, how would you want to respond to his claim that it's a new Bangladesh? Is he living in some kind of denial or under a rock to make these statements?
Absolutely. New Bangladesh means a Bangladesh controlled by the Jamaat-e-Islami.
Yeah.
The Jamaat-e-Islami has been in power since 8th of August 2024. The entire regime change operation was conducted by the Jamaat-e-Islami with the support of Pakistan and with the backing of the external powers of the West. And they have they want to perpetuate their control. They want to bring a caliphate into Bangladesh. They want Sharia law to come into Bangladesh. This is the new Bangladesh he's talking about. He is banning the Awami League from participating in elections. Just tell me where it can be a democratic society? What definition of new Bangladesh you have when you're banning parties like Awami League and Jatiya Party from taking part in elections? Why are you scared? In Sri Lanka in 2022, there was a regime change operation, anger of the youth against the Rajapaksa government. And the government was brought down and there was, they were exiled and they came back. But when the elections took place, Rajapaksa's party was allowed to participate in the election.
In fact, there are some reports that even the Awami League may be allowed to contest. So if it's banned, how is that going to be allowed? For the Awami League to contest when Sheikh Hasina is been sentenced in absentia. Do you have any information on that regard?
No, well, I think that the first thing is that Awami League has not been banned. The activities of the Awami League has been banned. Actually, Mohammed Yunus has confirmed this. He gave an interview to some Western media person in New York in September, 2.5 months ago. And there he was asked, why have you banned the Awami League? He said, no, I have not banned the Awami League. I have only banned the activities of Awami League. So that person then asked him that can they take part in the elections? He said, that is up to the Election Commission. So this is an executive decision. This is not at all any kind of a banning that should be taken as the last word. There is no way. And why is it? On what basis? Where is the trial? You can't just do by an executive order ban the largest political party in Bangladesh. That's not going to carry any kind of credibility at all.
Yeah. In fact, ma'am, I'd like to draw your attention to the protests that were happening in India also, the Sar Tansit Juda threats and the slogans that were chanting. Essentially, my question coming from the lynching of the Hindu man now in Bangladesh, of course, makes one remember the similar slogans and threats and the protests and the riots that took place back in India over some comments made over Prophet Muhammad.
This kind of a false accusation is very, very common in Bangladesh. It happens all the time to the minority community. In every village, suddenly you will see that some innocent Hindu youth receives a message on his Facebook, and within seconds, he is accused of sending that message, and he is accused of, saying incorrect things about Prophet Muhammad. This strategy is very common. And I think, yes, you're right. In India, also the same strategy was there. Things which everybody else is saying, you particularly pick on one person and say, no, now we are going to, pass a death sentence against you. I think the courts must step in and say that such thing that should not be allowed at all. The person making the accusation should be brought to book and asked why is he making that accusation. So I think that this is a very important aspect of law and equality before the law and judicial consistency in seeing how false accusation can then be weaponized. You make a false accusation, then you weaponize it, and you come and arrest that person and throw him into jail. In this case, he's been killed. In this case, in Bangladesh, that person, after the accusation was made, has been killed by a mob. That is the democracy prevalent in Bangladesh all the time. And the mob has killed him, and then they try to put his body on a stake and burn it. All kind. I mean, it's so cruel. It doesn't even bear repetition. It's not civilized.
Absolutely.
Well,
and then, yeah, sure, go on, please.
No, and then, Mohammed Yunus, who has ignored hundreds of such incidents, thousands of deaths, people who have been forced to resign, properties have been taken over, businesses have been taken over. Why doesn't he give justice to all those people?
Yeah.
What is the new Bangladesh he's talking about? He's talking about a new, very selective Bangladesh, which omits the Awami League, which wants to pressurize all the supporters of Awami League because the vote bank is still intact. We want to pressurize all the people who supported the liberation war of 1971, who attach a lot of high importance to the values of the liberation war. There are many people even beyond the Awami League in Bangladesh. They may not like Sheikh Hasina, but they support the values of the liberation war. And those people have been completely sidelined. They're not allowed. And you have a handful of even Muhammad Yunus himself called them fringe elements. Handful of the so-called radical people who come on the streets all the time and shout slogans that they're told to shout. So this is not any kind of new Bangladesh. This is an obliteration of the values of 1971 because Pakistan is trying to re-embed itself in Bangladesh, bring back the pre-1971 regime.
All right, ma'am, I requested to stay on as we move on to some news coming in from Pakistan. Viewers, a special court in Pakistan has sentenced former Prime Minister Imran